But when it does hit us, we are so excited because we can do $30 adoptions, and that still includes everything that we do on a normal basis for them.
Hi, 10-4, I got 9011 on one shot, consider it hot.
10-4, Mr. Weaver, consider it hot. I got a fuse on fire.
Consider it hot.
10-4.
All right, 10-4, 743, consider it hot.
10-4.
Consider it hot. Consider it hot.
You guys do it. 10-4.
Consider it hot.
Consider it hot.
Consider it hot. Consider it hot.
It's been a minute since we've joined you here on the Consider It Hot External Podcast, but we're back here in April.
We
and
are.
I'm so excited.
You are. Who are you?
I'm Leigh, and I work here at the co-op. I do the media and content with Don Johnson.
And that's me.
That's him.
Yeah, we missed a month. That's on me. I apologize for that.
You keep saying that, but, it's really not.
There was some stuff. So there we go. And it's good to be back, though. I enjoy this little venture into broadcasting, I guess.
Yeah, I hope we definitely reach some new listeners, too.
The month of April is coming up. Everything good is spring is blooming. I think I asked you this on a different topic, but spring is not your favorite season.
No,
okay.
No, fall is, but I do love a good storm.
Okay.
We have a lot about that in our Texas Co-op Power magazine.
Oh yeah,
that we'll get to later.
Storm season for sure coming up.
Yeah, but I do love the October fall months.
Your fall. Mm-hmm. Spring is all blooming all over our house because my lovely bride is a gardener, and so lots of dirt moving and lots of things blooming. So happy spring.
That's awesome.
Well, what kind of blinks do we have going on? That's a joke. Our little news bits, we call them the blinks. We try to avoid blinks, really.
Yeah, we just shared on our social media page why you may see what those are. Those are blinks whenever you're going through a storm, perhaps. So check that out. This
first blink is might make people blink a little bit. Just a reminder, the new rate, which started with usage back in February 21st and after, that will be reflected on your bills. Thankfully, the weather's been good. Mm-hmm. So you should see maybe your bill go down a little bit compared to the colder months. But that new rate takes effect, and unfortunately, the cost of everything is just higher. So there you go. But be aware.
That's right. And then, of course, there's a lot of things that have to do with safety surrounding the month of April. One of them is Digging Safety Month, and that's all about calling 811 before you have a dig project.
Yeah, you really never know what is underground. I have done this dig call, or Texas811.com is where I went. You just put in your address, kind of describe your project, and then a couple days later, say a couple business days later, they get out there, mark where the underground utilities are, and that is the only way to go. You really want to be safe about that and not dig into something that you could easily not know what's under there. Being just a little bit too close can get you.
Yes, that's true. So like you said, with your wife who's gardening, so if you're planting trees, installing a fence, building a deck, make sure you use that 811 number, and we'll share also what some of those flags mean when they come out there and put those flags down.
Right. Each color has a meaning.
Yep. And if you dig without checking, some of the repercussions, costly repairs, serious injuries. So make sure to stay safe, keep the lights on, and call 811 before you dig. And It's free. It's a free service.
It is free to you. TVEC offices will be closed on April 18th for Good Friday. And then we have one more thing here. If you're hearing this at the very beginning of April, we do have a job posting for a entry-level lineman position. And I saw some feedback on Facebook about that. Somebody had just asked, how do you get into that? It turns out there is a program. It's not officially anything that we're doing, but Trinity Valley Community College down in Athens has a lineman program. One of our awesome linemen is actually part of that in the instructor side of things. And that program, as I understand it, is low or no cost because it was kind of a pilot program that they were working on. If you are interested in line work, that is a good way to get some skills under your belt, get some knowledge in your head, and it's a great career with lots of upside, lots of opportunity coming, because it turns out there's a lot of folks retiring in this career.
That's true. And, something that made me think about is that, as kids are going to be graduating, we did just end our scholarships. Lots of kids applied. Be sure to check out our social media pages in the future because we'll be sharing with you those who won. And it could be maybe your very own kid or someone who is right in your community.
Yeah, it's good to see the kids growing up and going off to college and doing all the things.
So speaking of, we have the AP4 job open, which is closing on April 4th. So like you said, if you're listening early on, but you can always check out tvec.net/careers if you're wanting to know other opportunities available.
You could work with us.
You could.
Doesn't everybody?
You could be on the podcast.
You could come be on the podcast.
But if actually another way to be on the podcast is by going to tvec.net, checking out one of our community posts on the news update, because we are now taking in a online form and we're going to be celebrating our linemen. You can submit a personal message, which can be a written message, or you can do a voice memo.
Very cool.
So you can actually be on the podcast without even working here, because we'll take that voice memo and we may share it with those other members here that we have. So be sure to check that out. That's going to be closing on April 7th, and Co-op Line Worker Appreciation Day is April 14th. So be sure to thank a lineman.
Yeah, it's great. We say it takes the whole team here at the co-op to keep the lights on, but of course the superhero side of that is on the outside working in the storms and everything else, and they certainly deserve our appreciation. So if you get a chance to be a part of that, jump on the website. April,
we also celebrate Telecommunicators Day as well as Professional Admin Day. So we'll share that on our pages too, because, the linemen can't get what they need to get done without that team behind them.
Absolutely. Speaking of a lineman, a career lineman, although now his title is Manager of Safety and Loss Control, we talked to Chad a little bit earlier this week about some accolades. I like to use big words. What can I say? We got recognized for some pretty cool milestones in our safety program. Chad stopped by a little bit earlier to talk about that and share some other safety related information. So let's go talk to Chad.
We are sitting here today. It is April, and we've got a lot of safety things that are going on in April. We'll share on social media. And we're here with the man, the myth, the legend, Chad Marshall, our Manager of Safety and Loss Control. Chad, you just recently went to the TEC, which is Texas Electric Cooperative Safety and Loss Control Conference here in March. Tell us a little bit about that.
It went and picked up some awards.
That's right.
So we want to hear all about that too. But yeah, why would you go? What is the safety conference about? What do you do there?
We did bring back some hardware.
Yes.
Very proud of our cooperative. This is a conference focused on safety awareness in our power distribution industry. A lot of speakers speaking on the subject of safety, past contacts, past incidents, coming together and talking the safety talk and talking about being proactive in our industry and whether it be weather related, whether it be traffic related, special work practices that our linemen or any of our employees are doing, or somebody's doing better, sharing ideas. Most importantly, networking with other cooperatives, contractors, municipalities, and getting a feel for what they're doing and what they're successful in and what they struggle in.
And I know last year, or about the last year and a half, we've had a few contact incidents and deaths in the state of Texas. So even when we're about to be talking about long time records of safety, it's still not a safe business.
That is very accurate. I just recently read something that, and this is good for our industry, it is not in the top 10 most hazardous jobs anymore. It's fell to number 11 now.
Wow.
But the nature of electricity and the unknown, not being able to see it, how it reacts, how it takes all paths, and just the different work practices that we have to take and ensure for our employees' safety. It's a lot.
I hadn't seen that statistic. That's great that it is statistically safer, but yeah, that's no reason to let up on the safety. So tell us about those recognitions we got.
Well, we received 2, and we also had 4 other individual employee certificates that were given out. The first was an achievement for 5 years with no lost time, which we achieved last July. And the second one was man working hours that were achieved without a lost time accident. And we achieved one for 1.9 million man working hours without a lost time accident.
That is great.
Was that the same as the 5 years, or is that as of current?
It is actually rolling for us. Our cooperative is still, each day we're setting a milestone. So 5 years is growing. That's a separate award for your million man working hour award.
Awesome.
Say, Leigh, you asked the question, but you make the graphic for the thing that says 2 million. So
this is true. But, I did just learn about, because Chad was telling us about how maybe a cooperative that has less employees may not receive that man working hours awards as soon, or maybe someone who has more could work less hours. So you want to explain that a little bit in layman's terms? That
is very correct. The amount of hours you work, versus the amount of employees you have has a big deal with it. Obviously the more storm situations that you have and the more employees that you have involved adds up quicker for a cooperative versus another cooperative that's smaller in nature of employees and works less.
Right.
Another thing, besides the safety of working with electricity and all that, and something that applies across the cooperative, is driving safety. We've got some driving safety things coming up this month. Give us a lowdown on how many miles do we end up driving a year?
We drove in 2024 2.9 million miles.
So to keep that safety, you just give members a little bit of what that means to we're transporting poles, we're doing all kinds of heavy equipment. Give us an overview of what it means to work safe with 2 million miles a year of driving.
It's a challenge. It's a very big challenge. I mean, we consider ourselves a rural cooperative, but we have a lot of urban areas. Urban areas mean more traffic. We have to take in consideration not only our vehicles and our trailers that we're hauling and the equipment and poles that are on them, but we have to consider everybody else around us.
Right.
The awareness has to be enhanced more, not to mention our work zones that we create. They have to, the buffering zones, by law, they have to be acknowledged by the public. And it's very critical that, they see the signs, the warning signs, they see the strobes, the lights, they see the cones, because it's critical for our employees to stay safe. There's so much going on nowadays and distractions that are inside the cabs of vehicles, whether it be a cell phone, a radio, anything else. I'm thinking of our linemen and what they're having to deal with and getting their jobs done each and every day, not to mention other employees in other departments. We give them a computer. That's how we give them GPS equipment, radio, a cell phone. But we want them also to be safe and to respect, cooperative rules, not to mention our local, state, and federal rules. It's a challenge because our human nature is sometimes not focused on one thing at a time, but a lot of distractions that are around us.
Or being in a rush to get the job done, get the lights back on.
Very correct. Especially storms roll in and outages pile up, and our human nature is to stay focused on our membership and take care of them as quick as possible.
Work zone awareness, we've shared this before, the move over, slow down law. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I believe it was back in 2019, state of Texas come out with a law to protect construction work environments, the move over law, recognizing construction workers, which our employees fall under, that if we create a work zone signs, cones, that your speed limit, number one, goes down dramatically, and that if possible, that you move over and give us access, and not be distracted. I mean, that's general driving.
I just thought of something I meant to ask you. on a personal level, I keep seeing more and more. It kind of goes in waves, I guess. But I live out in Van Zandt County. Lots of signs posted on poles. We got solar companies. We got waste disposal companies. All kinds of people putting all these things on the poles. Garage sales. You are a lineman. Have been a lineman. Do you age out a lineman? How does that work?
I think once. I would say you obtain the status, and with respect, I'm very fortunate to. It's very hard work, and there's a lot of sore mornings myself getting out of bed. I got a lot of respect for all the individuals still doing it, but I tell you, it's it's something to be proud of. Something the lineman phrase, journeyman lineman, it gets in your blood. And that's who you are, I think, for the rest of your life.
Okay, but you've climbed a pole. Tell people why it is a problem and why it's actually illegal to put signage on the poles.
Well, our linemen have to follow certain safety standards. Back in 2013, there was another safety practice that came about. We went from the free climbing days, just scurrying up a pole and then belting off where you get to where you need to work, to now it's 100% fall restraint. So utilizing this fall restraint and those obstacles, signs that are whether it be nailed, they have to be taken down for us to use that properly, or else the climbing equipment will be out of character or adjusted properly.
Right, because you've got the hooks that you're wearing that are going into the wood, and if they end up hitting something like a nail or a staple, that's going to affect it.
I have a couple of personal experiences with that, and I have proven that gravity. It is true.
Gravity
when you
effective.
When you lose control, back in the free climbing days, you do fall fast.
Wow, that is you're still whole. You're not broken at all. Did you break anything?
Couple of bumps and bruises, separated shoulders.
The other thing I've heard too is you have rubber gloves to protect from the actual electricity, and then there's the possibility of puncturing or putting a hole in those gloves. And I know we go through, there's a certification process and all these kind of things just for the gloves, right? How much damage can you get on those gloves, and what is the safety risk there?
They can be punctured. They're a little bit thicker than what you would see a rubber dish glove. Your class 3s, you're talking about, we're working with 14 to 15,000 volts in those. There are different ratings of voltages, but it's no different than any piece of soft rubber. They can be damaged. They can, come up with ozone from sun damage to them. They can cuts, holes, abrasions. They can get chemical damage to them. Anything that alters the insulated value of the glove can happen.
We were doing a career. Sorry, I just thought about this because when we were doing a career day, I was talking with one of our journeyman linemen, Casey Bagwell, and he was talking to us about the temperature and degrees that the heat it gets inside of those gloves. Do you happen to know offhand what that is?
We actually did measure an employee that was going through a test back in August, dead heat of the summer, and we did a temperature. A surface temperature test, and it was 130 degrees on his rubber sleeves. So you can imagine what the internal temperature of those items are.
And I've seen an arcing demo where they had the hot dog in the glove with the glove with a hole in it, and you don't want to mess around with that stuff.
No, they check them before each use. They do a proper air test to make sure that they're sufficient and in good shape. Before they put them on and go up and touch live voltage.
So I'll just bring this back around. Don't hang your signs on there because you don't want a new hole on the way up the pole.
That is correct. It can happen. There's a lot of poles that are climbed that are energized, and we have protocols in place that sometimes they have to climb and wear those pieces of PPE.
Chad, thanks for coming by to talk to us about safety and safe work practices. I know that everybody's pretty proud of the records we've set. How long have you been here now?
I've been here 6 years.
6 years, and And 5 of that with no lost time accidents. How about that?
5 of that with no lost time accidents. That's correct.
I know you take no credit for that, but
I do not.
I feel like you're doing a good job.
I sure appreciate it. I think all of the talents with our employees and the training that they receive and just the general knowledge that they have of doing their job and doing it safely, it means a lot. You know, the actions and jobs that we all accomplish, you know, day to day, whether it be out in the field or in the office. I think on the forefront here at Trinity Valley, safety is number one.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Thanks for stopping by to talk with us.
I appreciate it. Thank you all.
Thank you. It's always great to hear from anyone that works here at the co-op, but specifically someone who has such a crucial role in making sure that we not only get that power on efficiently, but also safely.
For sure. And he's seen a lot of stuff in a career that puts him in a place to be in that role.
Yeah, I learned some fun facts that I didn't know from him. That's for sure.
Fun facts. The real fun is the stories he shares that aren't on the podcast. Mm-hmm. Sorry, everybody, but that's the way that goes.
Yeah, I guess you're going to have to come work here.
Exactly.
Revert back to the earlier part of the episode.
Exactly. All right. Another place we talk about safety all the time. Your April Texas Co-op Power magazine should be in your mailbox. If not, very soon. And if you don't have one, jump over to a Trinity Valley Electric Cooperative office and you can grab one in the lobby. A lot of neat stuff in the April magazine. Anything stand out to you?
So we've got Earth Day we're celebrating. That's later in the month, April 22nd. You'll learn a little bit about some simple steps to save. Of course, small changes make a big impact. You'll also learn about planting a tree. So if you've got a tree that you're wanting to plant, we have information about making sure to plant that at least 10 feet away from power lines. Never trim branches near lines yourself. Always call us if a tree falls on a power line, of course.
Yes. Yeah. Safety and spring tips there.
Mm-hmm. And spring, of course, is storm season. We've got all the information on learning about the essentials that you'll need to stock up for that storm season. And then, of course, you spoke to Chris Walker.
I did.
And he's got an article in there about tampering with meter bases, which is illegal and dangerous.
It's legal and dangerous?
Illegal.
There we go. It is illegal. We'll talk to Chris about that. Welcome now back to the podcast. You've been on here a few times now. Chris Walker.
Hey, Don. How are you doing?
Energy Management Supervisor.
Yes, sir.
You are good at managing energy. We should have you tell some tales out of from home. Like how good are you at keeping your own energy use low? You should be the expert.
I'm actually pretty good. I will say I'm pretty proud of that.
Okay.
My last electric bill, I think, was $50.
No way.
Yes.
And you don't have the solar.
And I do not have
solar.
Any
Okay.
solar.
Gas heat, though?
I do have gas heat.
Okay, so we're coming off of some months that had some really cold spells, but we're not talking about energy efficiency so much today because what you put in the magazine for April, I'll just read the headline. Electricity theft and vandalism pose safety and financial concerns.
Yes, talking a little bit about, making sure we stay away from any type of meter tampering and how those pose a serious risk, to health and safety.
Okay, so yeah, basically behind the meter is just some electrical connections, right?
Yes.
And anytime you have an exposed electrical connection, there's certainly a safety issue. These aren't like the old mechanical meters that can just spin backwards. I think that's the old rumor, right? Flip it around and it'll go backwards or something like that.
Yes. Yeah. No. Back in my early meter reading days, we would go around to all our customers to read their meters for their monthly meter reading, and they were mechanical meters. So you would go to some, and the air conditioner would be running, and everything would be going in the house, and the meter wouldn't be spinning at all. But then you would reach up there and you kind of tap on the glass a little bit. And then the wheel was just stuck, and then it would keep going. So yeah, they were a lot less efficient back then, but
right.
no, times have changed.
Okay, so basically, it's theft.
It is.
We'll start with if you're messing with your meter, trying to avoid paying for the power that's coming through it, that is theft.
Yes,
that is actionable, I suppose.
Yes, yeah, no, that is any type of tampering with the meter, trying to install any additional devices probably to the meter, anything that affects that meter from registering the proper usage, then yes, that is tampering.
All right, let's go one more level with that. You also head up the department that does meter testing. So if a member thinks that their meter is not accurately recording their usage, you guys go out and test the meter. However, they're remarkably accurate.
Yes, they are. If you look at most of our meters that we test, because obviously if customer does get a high bill, sometimes that does cause them to want to know what caused that. And so they will invite us to come out and we will do a meter test. And we're testing that the meter is calibrated properly and that it is not, let's just say, overcharging a member or undercharging a member. Let's just say out of all the tests we do, these meters come in at 99.9 something in that range % accurate. And that just comes down to they are digital. So there's not, they don't vary over time, which is what you ran into with a mechanical meter is because something that wasn't maintained or oiled or greased that is a mechanical device, well, over the term of about 20 years, it's naturally going to run slower than when you initially installed it.
Gotcha. I guess you wouldn't want it to run faster. That's for sure.
No.
Okay. There are seals. There are a seal on the meter base, and the policy is if those are broken, that is basically tampering with the meter. Well, we don't want that primarily for safety concerns, but also, theft costs everybody. So if you're not paying for the electricity you use, that bill for the energy from the ERCOT grid is still going to come due, right? So members should know theft does not pay off, and when that gets caught, you also end up paying for it in the long run, and it can be a legal issue. We'll just say that.
Yes. So, all of our meters, we do seal them up, and each seal does have a unique number identifier letting us know that that meter has been sealed. Now, granted, if you do happen to see someone at home sees that their seal is broken, and you haven't been tampering, there's no need to worry. We understand that sometimes just through being there for so long that the seals will just through swaying in the wind, sometimes they will wear through and we can come put a new one on. So just give us a call or let us know and we can get that resealed for you. But yes, if it has been cut and maybe strategically tried to be placed back into the right order to make it look like you have not tampered with it, we will find that
not good. And there's one more thing there too, is sometimes electricians like to try to get in there to do some work. Let us know first, right? Let us come out there and make sure everything is safe for them to work.
Yes. If you're upgrading maybe your meter base or you're changing out maybe a main breaker in the house, it's always best to give us a call first, and we can perform what's called a temporary disconnect, where we can either disconnect it at the house or we can disconnect it at the transformer or the junction box to make sure that it's safe for everybody involved.
Okay. One more thing here. How does this involve home solar?
Well, meter tampering has kind of evolved, right? So tampering basically is just meaning you are disrupting us to accurately charge you for your usage and consumption. So if you install a solar system and you did not tell us beforehand, that is tampering because you do not have the proper setup or registers that we come and put on your meter. And so therefore you are putting generation back onto the grid potentially, and that is going to disrupt your meter's reading, which does affect our ability to accurately bill the customer.
Right. In this case, it can actually cost you.
Yes. And that's why we always urge everybody to give us a call before you install any additional generation, because a lot of people are paying a lot of money for solar. And then it's kind of ironic that if you don't tell us you paid money for this solar, but yet you are being charged for the generation that you're creating. Right. So it's kind of like people get a very high bill and then they call us and say, hey, I installed solar and I don't know why the bill's still this high. And we're like, that's because you didn't tell us.
See, I wonder if they're thinking the same thing. It's going to go backwards through the meter and run the meter backwards. That just doesn't happen.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
and that does happen. And when we do inspect solar and it's done properly, your meter becomes kind of like 2 meters in one. It has a forward register, which is registering what Trinity Valley delivers to you,
Right.
and then it has a receive register where we're registering any excess generation you export back to the grid, which we then purchase from the customer. So if you do not let us know, we cannot properly apply those credits to your bill.
Right. Not to mention the safety and other things that come with having an inspected and approved system.
Yes.
Okay. Very good. We just want everybody to be safe, and we want everybody to be billed accurately, and certainly not for everybody else who's working hard and paying their bills to have to pay for something they didn't use.
Absolutely. And
All right.
if you have any questions, just give us a call first. It's better that we know firsthand, and we can direct you accordingly after that.
All right. And what's the email there? energymanagement@tvec.coop. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Chris is always another wealth of information. I think, what's he been here? 20 years?
Oh, gosh. Yeah. I think he just had his 20th anniversary.
That is awesome. So he's been a lineman as well. And then now is over our energy management department. Any questions on solar? Any questions on all the things?
Yeah, and that's a good
try to
point,
send
though,
everybody to
too,
Chris.
with solar, because we'll probably talk about this in a later episode as we get more into those summer months.
Mm-hmm.
But make sure that if you are thinking about getting solar, contact Chris. Contact us at Trinity Valley. We'll be sure to get your questions answered.
Yeah, we will. Okay.
Way better than what we just did that.
Yeah, it's all good. This is what the edit's for. All right. There's some other fun stuff in the magazine as well. And one TVEC member is actually featured in the magazine. It's always fun to see these because, they get submitted from all over the state. And so when we get a recipe in there for the recipe contest, or when we see somebody with a photo submitted, those kinds of things, it is a lot of fun. So...
March, we didn't have a podcast episode, but we did have
there's a photo in there. That's right.
We did. This is our back-to-back month of being featured in the Texas Co-op Power magazine, not only for a photo contest last month, but then also for, like you said, this fill-in-the-blank response of my first car was, and that was, of course, our member Wanda Sykes.
Wanda Sykes says...
A 1953...
wait. Should we read this or make people look in the magazine?
Ooh, I don't know. Actually, I think that they should go read all of them because I went through them and they are hilarious.
Okay, so Wanda says, my first car was...
a 1953 Chevy with a non-working reverse gear. Had to be creative in finding a place to park.
I can imagine. It's like, you're not backing out unless you push the car.
She's actually living over in Terrell, so she's right up the road from us.
Thanks, Wanda, for being a part of the magazine. And there are other contests in the magazine. You can win a $100 bill credit just by responding to our energy quiz, or if you find your number placed, your account number randomly placed in the TVEC pages in the middle of the magazine. So jump in there. We have a $100 winner at least every month on that energy quiz, and you could be the next winner. That's awesome. Some statewide content is pretty good here, too. I never, you see dragonflies and mayflies. They're all over the place right now already. The dragonflies are so pretty and fun to take pictures of and stuff. They're kind of vicious, actually. I did not know that.
Are they?
Yeah. The Mighty Hunter is what they title this thing. So great little article about dragonflies and their usefulness in the food chain, I guess.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we had that article, of course, a couple months back on bees. So this kind of aligns with that. And it's just so interesting to hear about how nature works, and it all just comes together.
Yep. Another article I really liked, the wasps who flew out of Sweetwater.
What is wasps?
Wasps, in this case, has nothing to do with insects, as we were talking about. This is the Women Air Force Service Pilots. These are the ladies who really wanted to fly and got to, because all the guys were out fighting in World War II, but they needed to shuttle all these big planes around. And it's just a fascinating thing. They were training them out in Sweetwater, Texas, way out in West Texas. And it's really cool on the way, a lot of things were changing in culture and everything else through the war. And these ladies trained up to fly all the big planes and get them out to where they needed to go after they were built or for service and all kinds of other things. There were some featured pilots in there, and one lady, her husband got shot down in B-17s in Europe, and she learned how to fly after that happened and flew B-17s here to get them where they needed to go.
That's awesome. I'm surprised they didn't feature that in February with it being Women's History Month.
Well, yeah, that would have made sense too. Would have made sense.
Nonetheless, a great article.
Yep. All right. Let's see. Eggs are the featured recipes, and I have a problem with the first one, or the main recipe in there. Mm-hmm. It's about eggs, but this thing is called Salsa Verde Hash Brown and Bacon Breakfast Skillet. There are eggs involved in that. However, when you have salsa verde, hash browns, and bacon in there too, it's hard to make that case that that's an egg dish. Really?
You can pretty much put bacon on anything and call it
well,
a recipe.
That's
good,
true.
You know?
I guess so. But neat egg feature. How many different categories can you put recipes in? It turns out there's a lot.
And there's also a lot in our recipe book that we'll be giving out at that annual meeting. Our second annual one.
That's right. Get your recipes in for that deal. Speaking of recipes, I know there's one lady in our service territory who has some very unique and very tasty recipes.
That's right. So famous for her fried collard greens, Chef Cassie, she debuted this dish at the State Fair in 2013.
Right.
And she's been wowing taste buds ever since.
Very cool.
So if you're a lineman, if you're working in the Eustis area, or maybe you're just a fan of great food, you won't want to miss this hidden jam.
There may be jam as well.
You won't want to miss this hidden gem. Her Eustis restaurant is all about comfort food with a twist. It's got crawfish queso fries to a fried bologna sandwich, which just so happens to be our field inspector, Floyd Choice, who's been here an astonishing 53? 53 this year, I believe.
Yeah.
That's right. He says that fried bologna sandwich takes him right back to childhood.
Very cool.
It's got a warm, welcoming atmosphere. She'll make sure to stop and say hi to you. She makes every guest feel like family because she did. She actually came out not even knowing that I worked with Trinity Valley. She came to check out on little old me when I was eating my loaded baked potato that was delicious.
Very good.
It's a must-visit spot. You can find them at 304 U.S. Highway 175. If you blink, like we talked about in the beginning of the episode, you will miss it. It looks like a storage building, but man, the inside, it's got great food, Southern Comfort magic. Check it out. If you're hungry, stop by and check out Chef Cassie's kitchen.
That's right. You got to do the lineman lunch this month.
I did.
After a year. I'm sorry.
I was like, finally, I get to eat.
I sort of take over that eating role.
That's okay. It was a good one.
I'm headed out next week to go to the next lineman lunch, and it is maybe the definition of a hole in the wall. It is way out of the way, and looks like it's going to be really, really good. So
sometimes those hole in the walls are the best.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Okay, another thing that is in the magazine, and we talk about every month because it's awesome. Operation Roundup. What's in this month's Operation Roundup update?
Yeah, so in addition to seeing those grants that were awarded in February, you'll actually be hearing from us shortly from the Humane Society of Cedar Creek Lake. They received a grant to help improve their feline facilities.
Nice.
If you're looking for a new furry friend, this is the place to go because in May, they're going to be hosting a discounted adoption event. Check them out on social media and be sure to check out that article. They're doing great things. And because you, the members, rounded up, you helped those kitties.
Help the kitties. And, there's so much that goes into animal welfare and taking those animals that are kind of either been dumped or it's a problem, and they cover a lot of territory for a few different cities and everything around. Check out the article, but they really do a great service for the animals and for the community as a whole. It's great.
That adoption, that includes the spay and neuter, which is a huge thing because a lot of times you are helping to solve a problem that hasn't even been created yet when you're spay and neutering your pet. So be sure to check them out. They've got a great website, and we'll hear from her now.
So we are talking with Jennifer Miller from the Humane Society of Cedar Creek Lake. Jennifer, what is your role at the facility?
I'm the manager. I've been in this field of work for about 15 years and have been at this shelter probably for 2 years.
Wow. That is so cool. Thinking about the Cedar Creek Lake, the Humane Society over there, I've looked at the website. I've followed you guys on Facebook. You can see all the ways that you guys help. You offer low-cost spay and neuter clinics. You host adoption events. You even help reunite lost pets with their owners, which I think is super cool. Could you let us know maybe the areas that you guys serve and a more in-depth look at the kinds of ways that the Humane Society of Cedar Creek Lake are assisting animals in those areas?
Okay. Well, we are serving several surrounding cities, including Gun Barrel City, Toole, Malakoff, the city of Kaufman, and a few other smaller surrounding cities. And our goal is to provide compassionate care for the animals in need while also assisting pet owners in our community. So one way we do this is by partnering with Dayhart Mobile Veterinary Services, which is new to us. This is going to be our second time to actually use their service this month on the 17th.
Oh.
That allows us to get low-cost spay and neuters on site. We're not having to run them individually to different vets, although we have to do that sometimes. And it also allows the public to come in and sign up for spay neuters as well. So they do 50 to 60 animals, I believe, a day when they do a mobile service. So it's pretty good for the community.
That is amazing.
Yes.
So we're talking with you here today because, of course, in 2024, you were awarded a TVEC grant with the members who round up their bills each month. Of course, those extra cents go to making big change. We love to highlight the Operation Roundup program. This specific project that the money was used for was to renovate a room that houses cats and kittens. Can you tell us a little bit more about how that room looks today? And of course, I know we have some photos too that we'll share, but if someone out there on the podcast is listening, what is this room's purpose?
Well, we were able to expand our original cat room that was kind of dilapidated and this facility was built back in the 80s, so you could only imagine. We've done a lot of redos recently. It created a dedicated 24-foot by 8-foot intake area for incoming cats and kittens. This space allows us to assess the new arrivals for illness before introducing them to the main population. Before that, they were kind of having to go into the same room, which was not the best idea, but we were kind of working with what we have. So that money helped greatly for that, for a healthier environment for all the feline residents.
That is so cool.
Yes, with expanding that, we also had a stainless steel bathtub, making it easier for our team to provide essential care, especially for the cats that are in poor condition when they arrive. We also took out a wall and made it larger to create an outdoor cattery area measuring 24 foot by 4 foot, where the cats can just go out and enjoy the fresh air and sunlight in a safe, enriching space.
Did you say cattery area?
Yes, we call it a cattery.
I love that. That's so cool.
Half the wall is made with kind of a metal mesh type where they still have the fresh air and they could just lounge on the little areas that we have in the sunshine. They have little boxes they jump on. So that gives them a lot of enrichment outside without actually being outside. We had an office space that was next to the cat room that was just kind of wasted space. We also put in a new door, took out the office material in there and used that for an enrichment area. So now when people come in to visit with the cats, they have their own little separate little room to go into so they can read to them. They play with the toys. They use the cat trees and they socialize. We have a lot of people that like to come in and help get these cats on their way to being adopted by socializing with them. So that room has been amazing.
I love that. It kind of actually goes into my next question because, of course, everyone always sees like the public facing adoption events, you know, the clinics that you do in the mobile bus, but so much goes on behind the scenes. Can you tell us maybe a little bit about how someone in the community could volunteer to help with these animals if they wanted to actually physically help and come to the clinic and help?
Oh, absolutely. Volunteers are a crucial part of what we do here. We have people that come and do playtime with the dogs. Dogs that have high energy and need extra attention, volunteers can come and help take them on walks, playing in the yard, providing enrichment to keep them happy and active instead of just sitting in a kennel all day. We need cat cuddlers. They come in and socialize, like I was saying, to help make them become adoptable because some are a little scared when they come in. We need bathers before transport days. We like to send our pups off looking and feeling their best. So with about 20 plus dogs heading out at one time on a transport, extra hands for bathing is always appreciated. We need laundry helpers. You don't know how much we need laundry helpers. With so many animals, the laundry never stops. So from washing the blankets to cleaning the towels and the bedding, this behind-the-scenes task is the biggest help that we could use keeping our shelter running smoothly. We also, in the summertime, we welcome people that want to help with lawn care. Maintaining the grounds is just as important as the inside. Volunteers can mow, weed eat, and help with general property cleanup. And that's just during the summer months when, everything's growing up as fast as it does. We can't keep it cut down. So other than that, people that can't volunteer in person, there's always ways to make a difference with us. They could become a foster parent, and that's a great way to help an animal in need from the ones that are stressed out in the shelter life. Just taking them home, even if it's for a weekend or a week, it lets them decompress, and we can kind of see their true personality before they get adopted out. Other than that, just by your donations, whether it's monetary or in the form of food or supplies or medical sponsorships, that's another way that provides care for our shelter pets without having to be here.
That is so cool. I looked at some of the supplies that are mentioned on the website, of course, like donating, like you said, like cat litter, towels, paper towels, trash bags, several others. There's warmer weather coming up.
Like in the summertime, our biggest need for spring and summer months is having enough plastic pools. The big blue pools. They're so great to keep the dogs from getting too hot outside, and they have a heyday. They love it, but with the bigger dogs, they can go in there and easily tear it up within a couple of days of it being out there. So we like to keep an abundance of plastic pools, but when summertime comes around, it's like a lot of places are sold out. So even bringing them now would be beneficial for us to have for the summer months.
Oh, that's great. Okay, I'm glad we're going to get the word out a little bit sooner, especially too. I have 3 boys, and I can't tell you the amount of plastic pools that I've bought them for different purposes, like sand or, projects. Knowing that can go to use and be used for these dogs who can enjoy it and also be kept cool. That's such a great thing. So we'll be sure to mention that, to our members, of course, who I'm sure have a ton of extra pools laying around. So that's awesome.
Yeah. The other thing is we take gallon jugs because we like to freeze them and put them in their water bowls, or just simply lay them in their kennels if it's hot during the day or out in the yard, so they can lay up against them, or they chew on them, or they lick them. And that keeps them from getting too hot as well. And those are simply just emptying your milk jugs and just rinsing them out and bringing them up here. That would be awesome too.
So we're thankful, of course, for the folks like you. You're helping to provide these services to these animals. I look at pets and they can't help themselves, of course. So it truly does take a village. Are there any upcoming events that you would like to tell us about, like adoption events or anything going on in the area? We'll, of course, share your address so that if those who want to donate or volunteer can. But I would love to hear more about any events you have coming up.
Well, we've been pretty booked on the weekends with adoptions since we have our new adoption coordinator. Her name is Diana. She's done amazing work getting us set up to go different places. We have another event coming up in May, which is a whole week-long event, and that is the Bissell Pet Foundation.
Okay.
They have a week, maybe every couple of months, but when it does hit us, we are so excited because we can do $30 adoptions, and that still includes everything that we do on a normal basis for them. And $30 is, for some people, they can come get their forever pet and be able to afford it.
I love that.
So we love to partner with Bissell Pet Foundation.
That is cool. And you're right when you say forever pet, because they truly
hopefully
are.
They adopt it, and that's going to be their best friend, and everything works out, and they have that dog for a good lifetime.
Jennifer, thank you so much for your time. I truly appreciate it. I'm excited to let our members know how. I know that you guys received the grant. Do you know how Operation Roundup works, or are you familiar with it?
I'm not familiar with it.
So essentially, our members, if they have a bill that's maybe $72.50, they would just round it up. So that 50 cents goes to directly helping organizations and nonprofits within our service territory. I think we're up to over 3.3 million right now that members have donated, and that's since 2013.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And that's what our members are doing. I appreciate it, Jennifer. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. No problem.
It was really great to be able to talk to her. I personally am a huge fan of all animals. And so this was near and dear to me. I hope it was for you too. And this has been a great episode. I'm glad to be back here in April.
Yeah, thanks for listening. And, as we go forward, pretty soon we're going to start rolling out some new episodes that are very specific. Like we're going to have Chris give us a full-on explainer on solar.
Okay.
Along with, we're hoping, some success and not so successful stories in that regard. So some members, of course, are happy about their solar installation. Mm-hmm. They love it. Some people maybe didn't get a great deal and it's not turning out the way they wanted it to. So we definitely want to share those kinds of things, the reality in between the good and bad.
Yeah.
And then some other things like Co-op 101. What is a co-op? And it's just some other features. If there's any kind of interesting thing in the power industry you'd like to hear about, we dive into ERCOT or dive into the grid, bring on some of those. We need to bring on our transmission line people. And
I'm sure they would
all about?
Jump at a chance to come on here and talk on our podcast.
I'm sure they would. Or they might just jump away. I don't know. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody, and have a great month.
Have a great month. See ya.